I hope you guys enjoying your weekend. But real quick, we have to have a talk. We got to talk about the Pistons, man, on today's episode of the Lockdown Pistons podcast.
You are Locked On Pistons, your daily Detroit Pistons podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's the deal, guys? Thank you for listening to another episode of the Lockdown Pistons podcast. Thank you for making it your first listen of every single day. We're free and available on all your podcast platforms. I'm your host, per usual, Kuka Hill. You can find me over on Twitter at Kuka Hill. Also, head over to the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Help us get there. We're really close to it. So if you haven't already, make sure you go over there and hit that subscribe button. But just to give you guys a heads up of what this podcast is going to be. I know we were supposed to do a mailbag podcast on Friday, but I took time for my birthday to go spend with some friends, my fiance, and didn't have time to do that. Then the game yesterday happened, and we have to talk about what's going on right now. So I'm going to move the mailbag back to Monday. We're going to do it on Monday, so I'll give you guys some extra time. If you haven't gotten questions in, to send them in now. You can put them in the comment section down below, or you can send me some questions over at Twitter at Kuka. Make sure you use hashtag mailbag so I know it's for that. But yeah, that's what's going on. We're going to push that back to Monday, and then today, it's just going to be like a quick 10 to 15-minute podcast talking about what happened yesterday and where the Pistons are at right now, because I think this is a really big, I won't say big issue, even though it kind of is, but a big discussion point that we have to talk about here. So last night on my birthday, nonetheless, which, by the way, I enjoyed my birthday, but nonetheless on my birthday, the Pistons lose 109-93 to the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, the New Orleans Pelicans are one of the worst teams, if not the worst defensive team in the entire NBA. In the first quarter, the Pistons built a lead of 32-25 at the end of the quarter. At one point, the Pistons were up by 15 points. Again, we had another game, which is not the first, it's not the second, it's not the third. It's been a trend recently of the Pistons building big leads, losing them, and then losing by double digits. So you're not just losing big leads. You're getting thoroughly destroyed the rest of the game, because you know how, like, you're not just getting, losing close games and getting outscored by like 17 after you're up by 15. You're up by 15, then losing by 16. You're being outscored by 31 the rest of the game. You're getting destroyed the rest of the game. That's awful. So this is not something that's new with the Pistons recently. This is something that's been happening, and it's tough. Something has to happen. You guys know a few podcasts ago I said, I'm not one. I've been trying all season not to, go at Dwayne Casey or criticize Dwayne Casey too much, because I know the roster that he's dealing with. The roster, you could get the best coach of all time, and the Pistons still wouldn't win more than, like 25, 30 games. You could get the best coach ever and get the most out of everybody. You probably still would only get like 30 games at most out of these guys. So I get that. But what people seem to be missing, and I know you guys are communicating with a lot of these people, and you guys know what I'm talking about. There seems to be people out there, they seem to confuse that Pistons fans seem to have thought that they were going to a play-in. Now, there were a lot of Pistons fans out there that were a bit delusional and thought that they maybe could go to the play-in. However, I would say the majority of Pistons fans are correct in pointing out this is not how they wanted the season to go, and this is not how people should have thought how the season was going to go. Everyone keeps trying to push you guys' opinions into this whole, oh, you really thought they were going to be a God squad this year? No, no one thought that. That's not. They're straw manning your guys' arguments. What's happening is people thought we were going to see improvement this year. I don't care what anyone says. Troy Weaver thought he was going to see improvement from the young guys this year. Dwayne Casey thought that. Everyone thought that what they wanted to see was improvement from the young guys. Whether that translated to wins or not, you guys remember before the season, I said the guys could get better and the Pistons could still finish last in the East. It wasn't about the record. It was about what you were seeing from the guys on the court contributing en route to these losses. That's the problem here. And I feel like the people you guys communicate with, the people telling you guys, like, be quiet and trying to strawman your argument, that they're missing. It's not about the wins and losses. It's about how you're losing and about the lack of development that's happening. We've said on this podcast over and over, basically the only second-year guy who's shown any progression is Killian Hayes. Killian's the only one who looks much better from last season. And that has to do with the fact he barely got to play his first year. So it's tough. The way the Pistons are losing right now, it's tough. The way the young guys are looking at right now, outside Killian himself, he didn't have a great game yesterday. Killian had, 9 points? Excuse me. Killian had 7 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds last night on 9 shots. That's not great. That's not good. He missed a wide open layup, and so did Cade. Like, it was a bad night last night from everybody. And this is not what fans were expecting. This is not what Troy Weaver was expecting. They were not expecting to come out here. I don't care what anyone tries to tell you guys or anyone tries to tell me. The Pistons were not expecting to come out and look worse than last year. They were, wins and losses weren't going to tell whether they were worse than last year. It was about where they continue to be competitive. The reason why last year was still fun, despite them losing so many games, because they were still competitive in so many games. They fought. They didn't give up. They challenged guys. They lost a ton of games. We knew they were going to lose a ton of games, but they were out there fighting, and there was bright spots on the team. As of right now, every single player from last year's rookie draft class has taken a step back besides Killian. Killian's the only one who stepped forward. Everyone else is struggling. The team doesn't look good. The team doesn't look like they like to play with each other. The offense is stagnant. Everything about this team is bad. So no, it's not about them having a relatively the same record as last year. It's about how you're getting to that record, and how they're getting to that record is extremely worrying and extremely disappointing. And it should be, like I said, worrying for everyone watching the team, everyone analyzing the team. It's not good. Don't let anyone try and convince you that you guys are right. This is not good. This is worrisome how it's happening. Not the wins and losses. No one's expecting them to win multiple games, but how they're losing and how they're getting to that point is extremely worrying. It is. I just want to come on. I've seen you guys. You guys are arguing and trying to, show your guys' opinion, show how you guys feel, and you guys are kind of getting strawmanned out there. So I just wanted to go on my platform and show that I understand what you guys are saying. I agree with what you guys are saying. It's very easy to understand it and comprehend what you guys are trying to say, and it's true. It's an issue. When we come back, like I said, it's only going to be like a 10 to 15-minute podcast. We just had to talk about this. In this last segment, we'll talk about, what kind of changes should happen. Because I've been saying that something needs to change. So what kind of changes could happen? What could the Pistons do? What changes am I talking about? We'll talk about that in the final segment. And you guys let me know what you guys think. But first, we got to keep the lights on. Let me tell you guys about one of our sponsors, BetOnline AG. BetOnline has you covered all season. More props, odds, and lines than ever before as football season continues to march to the playoffs. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all the sports action this season. Head to our new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use promo code LOCKEDON to receive your bonus. From basketball, football, NHL, boxing, UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games, don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 sports season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. So make sure you go ahead to their new updated desktop and mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use promo code LOCKEDON to receive your bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts. So let's get back into it. Thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen every single day. We're free and available on all your podcast platforms. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're trying to get to 1,000. We're almost there. Again, I'd really appreciate if we got there by the end of the year. Really, really appreciate it. But yeah, let's get back into, and for you guys watching on YouTube, yes, I look very tired because I just woke up an hour ago. So this is how I look when I wake up. I look, rough. But anyways, let's continue talking about it. So yeah, it's not good what's going on with the Pistons this season. But what kind of changes could they do? So I just tweeted this out like a few minutes ago. Killian and Cade should not be broken up. They're the only bright spot of this season. Everyone struggled last night. Everyone looked awful last night. But for the majority of the season, the Pistons are better with Killian and Cade on the floor. The duo with the best net rating is Killian and Cade. It's at like minus 3.9, but they lose by like 20 every game, so no one's going to really have a great plus minus. The one that plays significant minutes, Killian and Cade. They're best when they're on the court. There's no reason to split them up. It makes no sense to. They're not getting split up. Jeremy's not going anywhere. Jeremy's not going anywhere, so he's not getting split up. So that leaves Sadiq and Isaiah Stewart. And Kelly Olynyk's hurt. So there's no way in living hell they should be starting Trey Lyles. And if they do, you have to call an ambulance for me. The last thing this starting lineup needs is another person who thinks they're Michael Jordan, another person who's trying to dribble the ball and stop the offense to try to do their own thing instead of accepting a role. So there's no reason to sit Stu. So that leaves Sadiq. Now, you guys have heard me on the podcast the last week and a half or so that Sadiq should lose his spot to Hamidou Diallo. I'm at that point. I would start Hamidou Diallo over Sadiq. Do I think Casey's going to pull the trigger on that? I don't think he will. I don't think he's going to sit Sadiq and start Hamidou Diallo. I think the team would be much better for this. I think the starting lineup will function much better for this. Hamidou Diallo is one of those guys, and he's proven it so far this season, that he's going to know his role. Last season when he came to the pitch, you guys saw that he liked to have the ball in his hands a lot. He forced a lot of tough shots because he liked having the ball. He controlled the ball a lot. This season, if you watch him, he's giving up the ball regularly. He's not trying to force the issue. He finds his ways to contribute to the game, transition, driving attempts. When he does get the ball in his hands and he gets a chance to drive to the rim, he will, but he's not forcing everything. He gets it to the guy who's supposed to control the offense, and you see him backdoor cut, hustle on rebounds. He plays within himself. He plays within a role, which is what the Pistons desperately need on their team. They need people who accept what their role is, because right now they have way too many people trying to do their own thing, which is why they are struggling so bad and why they're not looking good, why the development looks so bad. They have way too many guys trying to do their own thing. You got Cade out there trying to do their thing. You got Sadiq out there trying to prove that he can do his thing. You got Jeremy who's out there trying to prove he can do his thing. Then somewhere in the mix of that, you got Isaiah Stewart trying to find somewhere for him to fit, because you got so many dudes trying to do their own thing. Where is he fitting along at? He has his own struggles offensively, but he's definitely not being helped offensively either by the majority of these things going on. And then you got Killian Hayes, who's kind of like wandering off ball, trying to find his niche with Cade, but also now Sadiq and Jeremy who want to try to do their own things. It's very tough right now to watch because everyone wants to do their own thing. And the only real people I feel like that are buying into a role is Killian and Isaiah Stewart. And I more so think that Isaiah Stewart is fitting into a role because he's kind of being forced into this role. He doesn't really – we've talked about Isaiah Stewart, and he obviously has issues offensively. And I've said for a long time that I think he probably is best used as a high-quality backup. And while he has his struggles offensively himself, he's probably not being helped much by what's going on out there at all. So the Pistons need guys who are going to buy into the role. And that's something Hamidou Diallo will do in the starting lineup. You won't have to worry about him trying to ISO. You won't have to worry about him catching a ball in the corner or at the wing and stopping and trying to isolate. You don't have to worry about that with him this year. He hasn't been trying to do that. With every single one of their other players, Jeremy, Sadiq, that's what they do. So it's tough right now. And the only change I can see possibly happening is Sadiq being sat for Hamidou Diallo. I would do it, but I really don't think Dwayne Casey's going to put the trigger on that. So I think that's dead. To be honest, I just think that's a dead mission. So what's the other change that could happen? And this is how we'll end the podcast, okay? I am not calling for Dwayne Casey to be fired yet. But I do think it needs to be given I think it needs to be in the front of Troy Weaver's mind right now that Dwayne Casey may need to go at some point. Listen, the thing about Dwayne Casey, and my friend Joe Truck, who we had on the podcast a few weeks ago, he writes little recaps, and he wrote this down. So I'll say this, and I really liked what he said. I want to mention this. Dwayne Casey's teams have always fought hard for him. That's the main thing about him. That's the main positive about him, is that if his team sucks, if his team's good, he's going to get the most out of them. He's going to make them to play hard, and they're going to go out there and give everything they have. This team's not doing that recently. Not everyone's out there doing that. Whether that's chemistry, whether that's, just lack of – I don't know what to call it, but they're not doing that right now. So I will say this, and this is what Joe Truck said in his recap, and I agree with it. It made me think of this from a different perspective. I can't blame the majority of that on Dwayne. It has to go a lot on the players and the way you develop or put this team together, because every other stop Dwayne's had, he's done that. The teams may not be good. He may not be good at offensive X and O. Like, all those things may be issues, but never in his career yet has he had a team that just doesn't fight hard for him. They go out there and lay it all on the line for him. That's never happened. So this has to go more on the team than him, because it's never happened in his career. If there's one thing that he's always gotten out of his team, it's that. And that's not happening right now. So while that may be more of an issue with the players, that's supposed to be his main positive as a coach, and he's not getting that right now. So that part may be just him getting, hit with crossfire. It may not be his fault for that because, like I said, you've seen it everywhere else, but that's what you're supposed to bring as your coach, and it's not happening. So it's tough right now. I don't know. It's kind of I don't really know what to I don't really know what to say about that. He's kind of crossfire with him, like I said. Outside of that, again, the team was expected to look better this year. They were not expected to win more games, but the guys were expected to take steps forward. The team was not expected to look this bad on the court, and that falls back on the head coach. Continually coming out in the third quarter and struggling and looking awful, that's on the head coach. Continually not answering the call in the second quarter, giving up huge leads and then losing by huge margins, that has to be on the head coach not getting the most out of their guys. That has to be whatever's going on at halftime, you're not getting the most out of your guys coming out that locker room. You're not enforcing the right type of things on the court that you want that will help your team win, or not help your team win, but help your team stay competitive in games and look like they're looking better and developing. That's on the head coach. So while Dwayne Casey, I don't think he should be fired right now, I don't think his job should be absolutely secure, because this has to be – you have to be worried about what you're saying from this team, and a lot of that has to fall back on Dwayne Casey, because he's supposed to be the developmental coach. He's supposed to be the guy that gets everyone out, gets the best out of everybody. And right now, he's not getting either of those things. So it is what it is. That's all I've got for you guys today, man. Before we wrap it up, I got to tell you guys about another one of our sponsors, TrueBill. Do you know why free trials are renewed without your consent? It's a business scam out to get you. Don't let greedy companies pocket your money. Download TrueBill to take control of your subscriptions. TrueBill is the new app that helps you identify and stop paying for subscriptions you don't want, need, or simply forgot about. On average, people save up to $720 per year with TrueBill. Because companies make subscriptions hard to cancel, TrueBill makes it incredibly simple. Just link your accounts and TrueBill will cancel your online subscriptions in one tap. And your TrueBill counselor is there when you need them to cancel online subscriptions so you don't have to. TrueBill has over 2 million users and helped them save over $100 million. So don't fall for the subscription scams. Start canceling today at TrueBill.com/LockedOnNBA. Go right now, TrueBill.com/LockedOnNBA. It can save you thousands a year. That's TrueBill.com/LockedOnNBA. But yeah, that's all I've got for you guys today, man. We'll have the Mailbag podcast on Monday. If you guys want to get some extra questions in, go ahead and do that. I had to push it back. Like I said, this is more important. I feel like we need to have this quick podcast for the weekend. Hope you guys enjoy your weekend. We got Pistons game coming up on Sunday against the Brooklyn Nets. They're going to get destroyed, but hopefully they show a little bit more effort and don't completely collapse again at halftime. So we'll see what happens there. I hope you guys enjoy that game. If you guys haven't already, make sure you go to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you haven't already, go to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons, subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you for making Locked On Pistons your first listen every single day. And let me know what you guys think about what we talked about on the podcast today. What's your guys' thoughts on this? What's going on with the Pistons right now? I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts, even though I think I know a lot of your guys' thoughts already. But until Monday and that Mailbag podcast, I'll see you guys later. Hopefully we see a better game on Sunday, and peace out, everybody.